Hello, Facebook. It's Beto here, Daily Divinity Coach, here for episode number 7 of my Sunday Weekly Live series. It's called Sunday Weekly Revival here on Facebook Live. I was supposed to start at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 8:30 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. I had some technical challenges and now I'm starting almost an hour late. So I expected a lot of people to join and I did let them know via Facebook that I was having some technical challenges. So I'm not sure how many people are going to join. I'm hoping that some are still online and able to join this Facebook Live episode number 7 of my weekly series, Sunday Weekly Revival. But I'm not sure because, again, unfortunately, I'm starting an hour late. So, but I do want to give a couple minutes in case there are some people out there who see that I'm live now and able to join. Today, again, episode number 7 of my weekly series, Sunday Weekly Revival, here on Facebook Live. The series takes place every Sunday, typically, not today because of technical challenges, we're late, but typically starting at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time and 8:30 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Again, about an hour late because of technical challenges. But we're here now, and although nobody's joined yet, we're going to go ahead and get started because, again, this was supposed to start an hour ago, so I'm not sure who will be able to join. But I wanted to make sure I got this done, and I'll go ahead and post a recorded video, and hopefully people can see that. And again, if you're watching this or you're going to watch the recorded video, my apologies for the delay. Got the challenges fixed, and hopefully in the future this won't occur again. We'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to talk a little bit about myself and what I do. So my name is Beto. I am your daily divinity coach. I post daily written spiritual inspirations on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, so multiple social media platforms. And I also do this weekly series, Sunday Weekly Revival, here on Facebook Live, as well as Instagram Live. And this summer, I'm giving a few summer offerings, free summer offerings. Number one, I'm doing a free up to 45 minutes of one-on-one coaching. So again, a free coaching one-on-one with me, divinity coaching for up to 45 minutes. I'm also offering free scientific prayer. So if you have a need, a prayer request, you want me to say a scientific prayer for you, I actually have my secret weapon, my mom, and I get her on the horn, and we take your request, we uplift it. More than happy to do that. Just direct message me, instant message me. If you have my phone number, text me. But that's a free offering this summer, free scientific prayer. And then the third offering are these bands, these bracelets. So I give away free bracelets in a set of 3. So the gray one there is Manifest Justice. The blue one is Manifest Abundance. And then the black one is Manifest Immortality. So I give these 3 bracelets away as a set. They are intended to be worn as a set. You see, I wore my 3 as a set, but obviously you don't have to. So again, I do the free bracelets, free scientific prayer, and free one-on-one coaching up to 45 minutes, one-time coaching. So if you are interested in any of those services, please let me know. Direct message me, instant message me, or if you have my phone number, go ahead and pop me a text. I also want to mention that I sponsor everything myself. This is all sponsored by myself, so I have no sponsors. Last week I talked a little bit about cryogenics and some biotech companies that are working on immortality, anti-aging and other things like that. And I did mention a few names, but again, please understand that I am not endorsed. I don't endorse any company or organization. I'm not sponsored by any company or organization. My words are mine. Everything I do is sponsored by myself, so I can't be censored. I was taught that by my divinity school advisor, who I'll talk about a little bit later. But again, I have no sponsor. Everything I do is on my own. And again, as a result, I'm not, can't be censored, which is awesome. My words are my words. I mentioned that because last week when I mentioned a couple of the biotech companies, my youngest son, he's 15, calls and says, Dad, actually, we're talking face to face. He said, Dad, you know that you mentioned that biotech company, I went out and bought a couple of shares. I said, son, I didn't endorse that company. He said, no, I understand, but I figured Jeff Bezos is behind it, so there's a good chance it's going to be successful. So, but I said, well, you do understand I didn't endorse it. I was just mentioning that as an example of what I was talking about last week. He said, no, I get it. So, but please understand, I don't endorse any product, any organization, any company, any service, okay? So let's go ahead and get started with episode number 7. So episode number 7 is entitled, all right, we got somebody, Bill Kearney. Hey, Bill. So we got somebody who must have seen that I was live, even though I was late because of technical challenges. So yay, we got a viewer. So hopefully others will see that I'm live now. So episode number 7 is entitled, The Truth About the Law of Attraction. So let me say that one more time. Episode number 7 is entitled, The Truth About the Law of Attraction. So the law of attraction, what is the law of attraction? And go ahead and take these off for a second. The law of attraction is this. It's the idea that we can think and speak things into existence. All right, so if you have a desire, you can think and speak that desire into existence, for example. So we can think and speak positive things into existence, but the reverse of that is that we can also speak and think negative things into existence. Okay, but it's this idea that we're co-creators, basically. And where does that come from? So ancient text tells us that the divine spoke the universe, right, into existence. But we know that to speak something, you first have to think it. So in reality, the divine thought and spoke the universe into existence. We are created in the image of the divine. Thus, we are co-creators. Thus, we can speak and things into existence. So we can create our reality and the things around us. And so that's the definition we're going to work with the law of attraction, is that we can attract good things into our lives. The reverse, we can attract negative things in life based on our thoughts and our words. So that's the working definition we're going to go with. Now, I've been asked to model some best learning practices, some best adult learning practices. So I'm going to model for you some Cornell note-taking. So this is how I prepare for my episodes. So number 1 here, I wrote on this sheet, what is the truth about the law of attraction, right? What is the truth about the law of attraction? So, and then the second one I wrote, what is the truth about the law of attraction, right? What is the truth about the law of attraction? So that's the essential question up top. And then the next question is it real, right? Is it real? So what is the truth about the law of attraction? Is it real? And of course, I filled my notes in. And then the third one here, what is the truth about the law of attraction? Is it real? Yes. Does it work? And then the final one here, essential question, what is the truth about the law of attraction? Is it real? Yes. Does it work? Yes, but. And that's what we're really going to be talking about, is that yes, but. But before that, let's get into, is it real? Okay, the law of attraction, and I'm going to take this off now, it is real. But how do we know that, right? So there's critics, skeptics, cynics out there, and I love them. I love talking to the skeptics, the critics, and the cynics, because they say, well, how do we know it's real? The law of attraction, you can't measure it, right? It's not tangible. You can't physically touch it. You can't be quantified, all that type of stuff. And it's true, right? So my response typically is, well, do you believe in love? And inevitably they say, yes, I believe in love. All right, well, can you measure love? Can you physically touch love? It's not material, right? Same thing with the law of attraction. It's not material, but that doesn't mean we don't experience it, right? We do, right? We experience it. That doesn't mean that it's not real. So again, that's the working definition of the law of attraction. And is it real? Yes, the law of attraction is real. You can't quantify it, but you can experience it and you can feel it, right? Emotionally, you can feel it. You can't tangibly feel it, but you can feel it. Okay, so is it real? Yes. Does it work? Yes, right? Yes, but we're going to start with the yes. Yes, it works. So some examples. of how it works. So what I did is, if you know me, and if you've been listening to me or reading my posts, you know that I don't typically follow others unless they follow me. So oftentimes I get asked this question, Beto, do you follow, a couple of the names that people throw around a lot is Abraham Hicks or Joe Dispenza. And the truth is, no, I don't. And then when pushed, right? Why don't you this and that? They do great things. I said, I understand. I'm sure they do great things, and God bless them. The divine bless them. But I don't follow them, and I don't. And the reason why is because I'm a boxing guy, right? And so I know from experience. I've never competed, but I've been around the sport. I was in the industry. That the best boxers have one voice in their corner, right? Muhammad Ali, the greatest of all time, had Angelo Dundee in his corner, right? Manny Pacquiao, one of the greatest boxers of this era, Freddie Roach in his corner, right? One coach in their corner, right? And for me, I had my mom from when I was, 9, 10, 11 years old, and 1979, 1980, when she got into the law of attraction, they're teaching me as a child, right? So why I already got, the top trainer, in my opinion, why would I want to go and get more trainers and stuff like that if I've got the top trainer, right? I mean, can you imagine Muhammad Ali dumping Angelo Dundee for some guy on the street corner? No. Manny Pacquiao dumping Freddie Roach for some guy on the street corner to be his trainer? No. I'm not saying that these people are in the street corner, but, when you get different ears in your head, you get some confusion and stuff like that. Floyd Mayweather, the greatest boxer of his era, it was his dad who trained him, then his uncle. Then when his uncle got sick with diabetes, he went back to his dad. So he always had that one trainer, that one voice. It was his family's voice, right? His family that perfected this style of boxing that worked for Floyd Mayweather Jr. That was his trainer. So for me, that was my mom. So my mom. So this woman used the law of attraction to restore her vision. She used to wear these thick glasses. And I remember when I was a kid, she had thick glasses. And one day she wasn't wearing them anymore. And I said, Mom, what happened? You're not wearing your glasses. She said, oh, no. My vision's been restored 2020. She spoke it into existence. She spoke 2020 vision, a restoration of her eyesight into existence. Incredible. She spoke other things into existence. She spoke a business into existence, a home, a car. So, that's what I grew up with. So I know it works from that experience. But from my own experience, too, came a time, my mom didn't go to college. She was born in Mexico and went through the Los Angeles public school system. Graduated high school, but didn't go to college. My father graduated high school. Took him 5 years. Took my father 5 years. He went to public high school, graduated high school, but he didn't go on to college. My brother, my sister, neither of my siblings went to college. I went to college, and then after college, I wanted to go to Harvard Divinity School, right? Top university, arguably in the world, top divinity school, seminary, arguably in the world. I wanted to go there. I did not have a 4.0 in undergrad. I mean, I had good grades, but it wasn't a 4.0. So I wasn't a lock to get in. So what did I do? I did what I was taught to do. I got my mom on the horn, and I said, this is what's going on. I want to go to Harvard Divinity School. And she's like, oh, wow, Harvard University? Yeah, Harvard University. The number one? Yeah, the number one. I want to go there, number one. Number two, I want to study with Cornel West. I want him to be my advisor. So the 2 requests there. She's like, oh my God, tell me about Cornel. And I told her about her. She later got to meet Cornel. Very impressed, loves Cornel. Still ask questions about him this day, even though he's obviously not my advisor anymore. That's a couple decades ago. But I want Cornel West to be my advisor, number 2. And number 3, I want a scholarship. And so we prayed. And so when my mom uses the law of attraction, she uses it in combination with scientific prayer. And so this is the process. I'm going to talk about the process. So what she does is she says, first we got to start with joy and gratitude, right? So we talk about things that we're joyful about or grateful about, right? And many of you have worked with me on one-on-one coaching that this is my process too. I got it from her. So we work on this, getting in that atmosphere, environment of joy and gratitude, right? And then comes the what and the why, right? So what is it and why, right? So my mom will always talk about specs. I have a friend, Henry, who watches this show, And Henry's a carpenter, right? And so if you want a piece of furniture from Henry, for him to make it for you, what is he going to do? What do you want? Why do you want it? What are the specs, right? So my mom will say, what are the specs, right? What are the specifications? Let's get specific here. So she always said, we got to clarify the what and the why. So we do the what and the why. In my case, it was, I want to study with Dr. Cornel West. I want him to be my advisor. I want to go to Harvard Divinity School. I want that scholarship. So we would visualize it, right? You say, once we get through that, you visualize it, right? Visualization works. Tiger Woods, as a preteen, right? Similar to me, like I was working with the law of attraction before I was a teenager. Before he was a teenager, Tiger Woods worked on visualization, right? One of the greatest golfers of all time. I know Jack Nicklaus, Tiger's still not, is still reaching for that goal of beating Jack Nicklaus with the number of Masters won, but still the greatest golfer of his era, right? One of the greatest of all time. As a preteen, he was working on visualization, right? Hitting that ball off the tee, right? Watching it go down, right? The fairway, right down the fairway, right? Working on his putting, right? Boom. Visualizing the ball go right into the hole, right? He's working on all this visualization. I was taught the same way, right? Put the request up there, the how and the when, right? Joy and gratitude all around. Visualize it, right? And she won't let you move on until the visualization occurs. I was working with somebody yesterday on this, right? And we were just waiting. I said, you gotta lock in the visualization. You gotta lock in that vision of it manifesting in the spiritual. And she did. Once you got that locked in, that vision, that visualization, now you hold on to that vision, that visualization until it manifests materially in the physical world, right? In the here and now. But part of that is not worrying about the how and the when, right? So we got a few now that have come in, even though I was late, and I apologize for the technical difficulties. But I have a few now that are watching this live. So what I want you to do is we're going to participate now. So I want you to type in the chat, the how and the when are the domain of the divine. Okay? So we don't worry about the how and the when. Our concern is the what and the why. Okay? So let me say that again. Our concern is the what and why. So if you want to type that into the chat, or you can put the how and the when are the domain of the divine, right? Or you can even just put visualization works, right? Or the law of attraction works. But go ahead and start, participating, putting things into the chat, because this is going to help all this sink in. So you visualize it, you hold on to the vision until the request is manifested, right? So that's how scientific prayer works, and it's combined. I've been taught to combine it with the law of attraction. So speak it into existence. So I'll give you an example. When I was doing my one-on-one coaching yesterday, the young woman said, "Beto, how old are you?" Because we were working on some specs, right? And she wanted to get her specs right or whatever. And so part of the specs was height requirement, or height range. And so she wanted to get an idea of how tall I was. I said, well, I'm 5'2" in the physical, but in the spiritual, I'm 6 foot, because I really do believe I'm going to get those 2 extra inches manifest, because I want to be 6 foot, because my dad's 6'4", my brother's 6'4", my son's 15 years old, he's already 6 foot. My cousin Marky Boy's 6'3", Willie Boy's 6'1.5", 6'2". So I'm like, I want to get to 6 foot. So I'm speaking that into existence, right? Which is the law of attraction, right? You speak it into existence. So does it work? Yes, I've experienced it, right? I got into Harvard Divinity School. I got Cornel West as my advisor. Not everybody who got in got Cornel West as their advisor. And I got a Harvard University scholarship. They paid for my tuition and fees. Not just any scholarship, it was a Harvard University scholarship. So it was a big deal. So I know it works. And I've worked with some of you who are now watching, and I know that you know it works because I worked with you on it, and we've been able to do that. But here's the thing. It works, but. Okay, so I did some research. As I said earlier, I don't follow, some of the people like Abraham Hicks and Joe Dispenza and these other famous people out there. But I did, for the purposes of this episode, I did some research. I went out and I got this book, right, The Secret, and I watched the movie. And honestly, I enjoyed it. I mean, this is a really good book, The Secret. Movie was great, very well done. I mean, a really good, great, really solid introduction to the law of attraction. I'm not endorsing it, right? But I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. There's some really good stuff in there. It's really good information, really good introduction. The but, right? The but is this. It's the commodified version, right? It's the commodified version, the commercialized version of the law of attraction. And there's nothing wrong with that. The proof's in the pudding. Is a national bestseller, I believe. Maybe not, I don't know, but it sold a lot of copies. A lot of people read about it. I read it and talk about it and whatnot. And Conor McGregor, the UFC world champion, or former UFC world champion, a multimillionaire, attests to it that he read this book, he put the principles into practice, and he at the time he was broke, right, unemployed, and he just started manifesting things. I think the first thing he manifested, he said, was I read the interview, was a parking space. He was downtown there in Ireland, and in the town he lived in, and he manifested a parking space, and boom, there's a parking space. And from there, his faith grew, and he started manifesting other things, and he spoke it into existence that he was going to be a UFC world champion, and he did it in a matter of a few years. And he put in the work. He did the jiu-jitsu, he did the striking and all that kind of stuff. But he spoke it into existence. Muhammad Ali, the greatest of all time, the greatest boxer of all time, spoke it into existence before he was the Muhammad Ali, the world champion. He said, I am the greatest. I will be the greatest of all time. He spoke it into existence. So Conor McGregor attests that the principles in the circuit, the law of attraction, works. To the point where he said he was going to box Floyd Mayweather Jr. in a boxing match. Conor McGregor, although he knows striking, is not a boxer. He's a mixed martial artist. But he said he's going to fight the greatest fighter of his era, Floyd Mayweather, in a boxing match. And those of us, I'm a sports writer, right? Or I was when I lived in Las Vegas. I was like, oh my God, that's not a real contest, right? Floyd Mayweather is going to beat him easily. And why would anybody pay for that? That was my thinking. But Conor sold it. He sold it, and sure enough, it manifested. He spoke it into existence. He got a huge payday, right, to box Floyd Mayweather, although he really had no chance, and he sold it, and people believed he had a chance. I mean, I paid. I took my 15-year-old son. We went to the movie theater here in the Boston area, and it was amazing to me, to see. I mean, it was sold out there in the theater, and people really believed that Conor had a chance. I'm like, oh my God, I told my son, I can't believe it. These people really believe he's got a chance. I mean, Conor, he did it. He spoke this thing into existence, and everybody's buying this thing, and he's going to make a ton of money, and of course he lost. And I don't think that was a surprise to him. But nonetheless, he did it. He fought the greatest of all time in a boxing match, or of his era, Floyd Mayweather, the greatest boxer of his era, and made a ton of money. A huge payday. So does principles in this book work? Conor McGregor says it does. I read it. It's a great introduction, but it's not the full picture. And here's why. Because it leaves out this, right? Cornel West, I talked about Cornel West earlier. Here's my Divinity School advisor. He wrote this book, right? Race Matters, right? The Secret doesn't talk about this, right? Yes, but race matters, right? Or this, right? Yes, but justice, right? I always lead with justice. Justice matters. So to give you an example, right? If I'm going to put my feet in the shoes of George Floyd, right? If I'm George Floyd and I'm handcuffed, right? My laying prone on the pavement, my face to the pavement, right? And I got 200 pounds of force, right? George Chauvin, right? Has me handcuffed, my hands behind my back, prone on the pavement, knee on my neck, I can't breathe. Do you really think this is going to help? Great book. I enjoyed it. No, it's justice time, right? Race matters, right? That's why people are taking to the streets, right? The Mexica Azteca Maya prophecy said that we are living in the fourth sun right now, right? The era of the fourth sun, the era of humankind, of white supremacy, of European domination, right? But the fifth sun will be dawning soon. The fifth sun's actually dawning now. And the fifth sun's going to be ushered in by earthquakes. And that's what we see taking place right now. In Portland, right? In Seattle, Chicago, Milwaukee, Louisville, Atlanta, New York, Boston, name a city. Marchers are taken to the street, right? They're marching, they're quaking the streets, right? They're demonstrating, they're protesting. That's what's taking place right now, right? The streets are quaking, just as the prophecy said, that the fifth son, the new era, would be brought on by earthquakes. What is the new era? What is the fifth son? It is when we, humankind, learn to get along with each other, right? In unity and harmony and with nature. So no more of this dominance, no more of this supremacy, no more of these structures, right, of institutional racism, no more of this human slavery and this genocide, all this chaos and violence and absurdity. No, it's going to be about harmony with each other in nature. So books like these, I love them and whatnot, but they don't show the whole picture because it's the commodified version. It's a version of the fourth son. It's really about helping you cope with living in the fourth son. And that's not my mission. My mission is to help prepare you for the fifth son, right? What's coming, what's already dawning, right? I'm not here to help you cope with the fourth son. So spiritual practices, meditation, love it, use it. But it's a fourth son coping mechanism. It's to help you, right, deal with the absurdity and the chaos of what we're living in now. Because even though you might think it doesn't affect you, right? Because you have, quote unquote abundance, you have a good career, good education, good job, you live in the suburbs. I don't. But you live in the suburbs and, you got the house and the lawn and all that kind of stuff. Maybe even got a boat. It still diminishes you. All the chaos, the human slavery, everything that's going on in the fourth son, the genocide, the police brutality, it diminishes us all. Okay, so these are really coping mechanisms. And again, I love meditation, but it's a coping mechanism to draw yourself in so you can cope with the absurdity that's going on around. The fifth son is not that. Those spiritual practices are still good. I'm not saying throw them away. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. But what I'm saying is that the fifth son is different. It's about spiritual action. And the protesters and the marchers get that. They're quaking the streets, taking spiritual action to bring down the structures of institutional racism, to end institutional racism, end police brutality. That's what the fifth son is about. It's about putting your faith into action, those spiritual practices into action. So that light you've been working, right, on all the meditation, it's now taking that light, right, that's been all about being inward and now displaying it outward. That's what the fifth son's about. So again, does the law of attraction, is it real? Yes. Does it work? Yes, but it doesn't include not just justice, right? It doesn't paint that picture, right? Because if you're a young woman, right, a young girl, and you're locked in a cage in an ICE detention facility, I'm not going to give you this and say this is going to help you, right? Just manifest being out of this cage and living a life of abundance. No, she needs justice, right? George Floyd needed justice. That's why people are taking action right now, right? But the other thing is that even if you put this to work, right, and everything goes great and whatnot, obviously you're not having justice. So there's, that still needs to be manifested. So you're still being diminished. But also, this doesn't talk about immortality, right? So I always lead with justice, right? Justice, number one, and then abundance, right? Because that's what the law of attraction is about, right? Getting into that place of being able to manifest abundance, right? But also, and not just abundance in the physical world, right? Not just the home, the career, all those kind of things, the house, the boat, whatever it is you desire. But also the peace, right? The empathy, the kindness, the authenticity, right? All those spiritual elements. That's what's really critical. Because the highest version of abundance is really having the peace that surpasses all understanding, which really means that your desires are now in line with the desires of the divine. But also immortality, right? Because you can have the abundance, again, you can have the, whatever it is you desire, the Porsche Cayenne, the boat, the home, a career. But if your time is finite, if your time is limited, you don't have true abundance. You can even have the peace and everything else, but you don't have true abundance if your time is finite, right? Because we're supposed to have unlimited time. So that's why immortality is key to this too. And that's why I always talk about manifesting justice, manifesting abundance, and manifesting immortality. Love the law of attraction, grew up with it. It's real, it works, but we got to manifest justice as well as immortality too. We got to have the full picture. So I'm going to go ahead and end here. I thank you. Several of you have joined. I thank you for joining. I apologize for the delay. There was technical difficulties. I don't anticipate this happening again, but I really do appreciate you coming on and participating in my live show. Again, this was episode number 7, entitled The Truth About the Law of Attraction, my weekly series, Sunday Weekly Revival, that typically takes place here on Facebook Live on Sundays at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 8:30 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. It was delayed almost an hour today because of technical challenges. But again, I don't anticipate that next week. Hope to be back on, expect to be back on schedule. But I'm going to go ahead and end here. Again, I appreciate your participation. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day and enjoy your week. Bye-bye.